The way communities in the suburbs have been built have always put an emphasis on car first and people second. And you can see it just by analyzing the way housing lots and roads have been laid out. There are communities built and separated from the main connections to avoid through traffic. However, driving around it, has been prone to an increase in traffic times, fuel consumptions, pollutions, and safety hazard. As you can see, if you do pull a map of any suburban communities, you find out that roads have no straight path. They always tend to serve the housing lots. Picture how an entire block of a community has now been multiplied throughout the whole nation. To understand this phenomenon, we have to go back in 1945. World War II just ended, and hundreds of thousands of GI came back in North America through Canada and especially the United States. The majority of them was facing unemployment, and many of them were homeless. So the government of the United States passed the Federal Housing Plan, which allowed people to borrow money at low interest and started building outside the city halls hundreds thousands of square kilometers where new suburbs and new cities will exponentially grow. In essence, this was the beginning of the modern American dream. So we started seeing that by the end of the 1940s, all throughout the next 50 years, cities outside the main metropolis started to boom. We now see how big metropolis, big cities like New York, Atlanta, Washington, or Houston started developing a whole new area where the template for the growth of the city wasn't anymore vertical, so no more skyscrapers downtown. But now the premise was to have a house in the country surrounded by green, and so did many other millions of people throughout North America. This has prompted the beginning of a whole new modern era. We now have people that, to reach long distances, are heavily relying on the car. The way communities in the suburbs have been built have always put an emphasis on car first and people second. And you can see it just by analyzing the way housing lots and roads have been laid out. There are communities built and separated from the main connections to avoid through traffic. So we now have millions of families that are now relying on the cars. Cars is the first method of transportation. With the long commuting times and distances, the relationship between people and food began a whole new chapter. Restaurants and fast food started developing along highways and freeways. And here we have, between the 50s and the 60s, the birth of new patterns and a new approach on how people will start behaving towards their food consumptions. The drive-through concept has forever changed the way people in North America approach the meal consumption. Now we have this rushed approach, that's we can call it, this rushed consumption of food along the road when people go and come back from work, on their school trip, on their summer holiday. And the whole industry started revolving around how people wouldn't have the need to step out of the car. And the drive-through did not stop only at food. Drive-through pharmacies, banks, and other services.